If you're watching this video, you've probably got a problem with your NTG 4.0 radio, which is what I have in this 2011 GLK. In this case, during a DVD satellite navigation system update, the DVD player, CD player crashed and burned. And so now you can see if I go to audio on my command structure here that I no longer have a disc, a memory card, which is this little guy here. Those are awesome options. So I need them back. So basically, what do you do if your radio is broken and you need to replace it? Well, you can take the head unit out and you can send it in for repair. There are several places that do that. It's going to cost a fair amount of money, and you're going to be driving around with a big hole in your dash for who knows how long during the process. I'm in the middle of a road trip. That's not going to work out. So basically, what I need to do is get a new radio. So how do I go about doing that, knowing what I know now, which is very little? Well, I'm going to show you a little trick. Basically, there's a hidden menu in the Mercedes NTG 4.0 system, and probably others. But what you do is you turn the key to the first position so that you got ignition. You hold down the hang up, the pound or hashtag button, and the 1 button simultaneously. Now, whenever you do that, let me go to a little wider view here. You hold it down for several seconds, and you get into the hidden engineering secret menu. Okay, now that you're in the engineering mode menu, what you need to do to find the model number for your radio, so you know what you need to replace it with, you go down to HU information, select that, and then keep going down, and it's a long way down. You want to go down to hardware information, and that will give you, among other things, the ZB number here. That's the actual model number of the radio. It's got all kinds of other interesting information here. Hardware part number, that's also a part number that Mercedes uses, because Lord knows one part number for a head unit is not nearly enough. But you can see it's a whole lot of information here. So what's important here, the 204 900 6703, that is a part number that's actionable. I can search on the internet, I can go out and I can look for one, and I can find one online. I can buy one from the dealer, obviously, but not really wanting to drop $2,000 into a new head unit. I'm not going to do that. Okay, a little internet shopping later, a little time for delivery, and here's what we got. I found on eBay a used head unit in excellent condition for $220 delivered. Also, I bought a pack of the trim tools, which you'll see a little bit later, and it used in actually taking the radio out. Something you really want to have so you don't scratch up your exotic wood grain interior. So basically what I got was a replacement identical head unit. Now the beauty of that is nothing gets pre-programmed. One of the other things is this is the hard drive that you're going to read and hear about, that includes, among other things, the navigation files. Now what that means is when I insert this unit, my navigation should once again work. On the existing unit, if I select navigation, it just tells me to reinsert the installation disk, which is in the middle of a crash and burn installation, so that's not going to happen. So what we want to do is just take out the old unit, put this one in. It should be plug and play. One more issue is most radios since the 80s or 90s require a anti-theft code be entered whenever you swap a radio. I looked all over, up and down, back and forth for the code for an NTG 4.0 radio, and as it turns out, they don't have one. So you're lucky if that's the case. If you have a 4.5 or later, you probably do require one. That's a whole separate subject. but be aware of the fact that you will have to have the VIN of the donor vehicle if you want Mercedes to issue you the radio code, or you'll have to use an online radio code generator, which may or may not work. I really don't know, so just be warned. The first step in the removal of this radio that a lot of people forget is to check to see if there are any discs in the machine. So let me clear the screen here. Select disk down here. Hit the eject button, and lo and behold, there appears to be a disc in there. So let's see. I'm going to select, using the toggle, the eject all. And yes, indeed, there's a disc. And it was just a generic CD I was trying to use to troubleshoot. So, okay, now the changer is empty. If you don't have a changer, it'll just be a single eject. But we're ready to start the process. Now, I'll use my handy-dandy new trim removal tools to get under the edge of this of the vent. The vent does definitely have to come out. You're not going to be able to do this job with the vent in place, even though it kind of seems like it's above. There's things you have to do that you're not going to be able to reach without the vent being taken out. Okay, and once you loosen the vent, okay, again, using these tools to prevent damaging your trim on the car. So that's a good idea. Right. And you take it out, and there's a little plug, little release on the bottom I just pushed. So now we have much better access. The next trick will be to get a kind of flat trim tool and pop out this trim piece here. Okay, that pops out nice and easy, flies across the car, no extra charge. The next thing we got to do is pull out. There are two Torx head screws that have to come out. So I'll go get that tool. Okay, the two screws, they're T25, need to come out. The two screws that need to come out, T20, so they just need to be removed. It's tight. If you're using just a regular L-shaped tool, it's going to take you a little longer to get access and swing the tool, but not a big deal. And don't drop the screws, so either use a magnetized tool or a pair of needle nose pliers or similar to extract the screws without losing them down in the bowels of the car. Here is one of the fiddlier parts of this whole process. There are release levers that are back on the corners they're back behind the trim plate back here where you wouldn't expect to find anything. And if you feel around, you can feel little tiny levers, and you can see I just popped one up there. It was down. You just have to get a flat tool under it, pop it up. There's one over here as well, and again, you're really not going to be able to see it unless you can stick your head in this hole, and my head's way too big for that. But now they're both up, and once you've released that, the radio is now free and able to come out. All right, now you notice, obviously, this trim panel here does come off very simply. It didn't even need a tool for it. But nonetheless, you are going to run into the gear shift. So you got to take preventive measures to keep from boogering up your shift knob, which would be a tragedy. First step, particularly if you're not on the flat, is to set the emergency brake. Second step, turn on the ignition. You don't have to start the car. Step on the brake, pull the gear shift all the way back out of the way, and cover it up with a, in this case, just some old towel, and that will do it. And then once you've done that, you can turn the ignition back off. It's going to not be able to go all the way back because the car is in gear. Nonetheless, that's not really going to stop us. Okay, now I'm going to extend this this towel up just to protect the back of the dash, and then start working on getting all of these myriad of little connectors out of the car. There are some of them that require some fiddly latch releases, and some that don't. So we'll take them one at a time. Okay, I'm going to use just a small screwdriver. It's a little more wieldable than the plastic tool. There's a release right here on the bottom of this this plug here that hopefully you can see it there. Let me move that just a little bit. You need to push up on this release, and then you can just pry, and you could just wiggle it. I think it will come out without a pry tool, but it is really snug, and so push the release and then wiggle and cajole, and the plug will come out eventually. Okay, similarly, this one, again, pull the release, wiggle it, and it pops right out. In this case, you're going to also have to remove the little. Next is this connector here. This one has no latch. It's just really snug. Just pull it out and it'll come out. This one, although it looks kind of odd, is one of the easier ones. There's actually a release. This portion right here, this little blue ramp here, is actually a release that allows you to rotate this gray lever down, and once you do that, it's loose. Okay, this little connector here, pretty straightforward. Just a little release on top, push it down, pull it out. And next we're going to take this big one out. Now it looks like there's a whole bunch of different connectors here, but they are kind of all Siamese together. There's a release right here on the actual lever that you push down, which releases the twist handle here, and you pull it out, and lo and behold, you no longer have a connected radio other than this one last little clip here, which again has a very obvious push to release connector that connects to the heated seat controls. So now the radio is out, and it's just a matter of reversing the process to get the new one in. And just for giggles here, I'm going to show you, this is the old defective unit, the information on it, the new replacement unit. You can see exactly the same part number, very similar. All the other unit, the numbers look exactly the same. The serial number obviously is different, but the software and the hardware and everything versions seem to be pretty much exactly the same. So this should be a very simple plug and play. I'm very, very happy. One more detail. You notice the new radio does not have the control panel for the heated seats, so that's got to come off, but that's a simple matter. There's just 4 T20 star bolts holding it on, so I'm just going to remove those 4, but I won't make you watch that process. It's boring. Well, the panel is off. I left the screws in place, and it's just a matter of setting it down on the new head unit and tightening them back down. Those who've watched my videos before realize I'm using tools I don't normally use in a different kind of setting. I'm in the middle of a road trip needing to change out my radio, so that's what's going on. All right, and assembled and ready to go in the car. And reinserting it is pretty much exactly the opposite of taking it out. So I'll insert first the little seat heater controller, then this big monster plug. Again, taking care not to booger up my dash. Plug that in and then slide the locking tab down. Do the same with this one. Little gray locking arm comes across. Let's see, we got this little guy here that goes in without any further ado. This one, it's a lot quicker to plug them in. Goes in here. White one. The blue one. And of course this can be plugged in here to keep the strain relief in place. And you need to make sure that the cables inside the dash are kind of as much out of the way as you can get them. It's kind of a tight fit. They don't leave a lot of extra room in these things, it seems. But we're to the point where it's going in. It's just resting on some cables in the back that are just a little bit snug. Okay, next step is push in the radio firmly and push down the little hidden clips behind the radio, which will open up the access to the screw holes. The screws actually go through those little the body of those little hidden clips, so if you don't push them down, you'll never get the screw in. So, okay, now nice and snug. All right, probably the next step would be to put in the trim pieces, but experience tells us that this would be a good time to check and make sure the radio actually works before you go to all that trouble. Moment of truth time. Turn the ignition on. Push the on button. Well, that's a good sign. I've got static. And let me swing up to audio here, and look at that. I got satellite radio, I got disc, I got memory card, and apparently this came with there was a disc in the player when I got it. So, and most important, my navigation once again works. I'm a happy boy. So now I just have to put the trim pieces, top and bottom on, get the dash center console vents reinstalled, and I'll be in pretty good shape. Easy peasy. Equally easy. Now, just a matter of thinking this one through just a little bit before you plug it all back in. This plug goes in back where it came out. Let's see, the clip is on this side. So, again, very intuitive. The shape is such you can't possibly put it in wrong. Slide this whole thing back into place now. Should just pop in. There it is. The dog was agreeing with me that this is now complete. So in the end, a couple $100, maybe an hour of effort. I've got a nice, what looks to be a brand new, beautiful condition head unit that is working seamlessly with my car, exactly like the old one did. My navigation's back with any luck. It's more updated than the one I had originally. The CD, the chip reads correctly. Everything's working as it should. And that, my friends, is how you find, identify, replace, and configure a new radio in your NTG 4.0 Mercedes-Benz GLK C-Class, whatever kind of vehicle you have. Thanks for watching.